The aim of this video about cohesion is to discuss, to understand, to explain about cohesion in translation, and to analyze the application in literature works. Cohesion itself is one of the most important aspects in translation because without cohesion, a text is not completed. Cohesion is grammatical and lexical linking within a text or sentence that holds a text together and gives it meaning. It is related to the broader concept of coherence. There are two main types of cohesion: grammatical cohesion, which is based on structural content, and lexical cohesion, which is based on lexical content and background knowledge. A cohesive text is created in many different ways. Cohesion is a theory by Michael Halliday and Ruqayyah Hasan. Michael Halliday was an English-born linguist who developed the internationally influential systemic functional linguistic model of language. His grammatical descriptions go by the name of systemic functional grammar. Halliday's grammar differs markedly from traditional accounts that emphasize classifications of individual words in formal, written sentences in a restricted number of valued varieties of English. Halliday's model conceives grammar explicitly as how meanings are coded into wordings in both spoken and written modes in all varieties and formal registers of a language.
Ruqayyah Hasan was a professor of linguistics who held visiting positions and taught at various universities in England. Her last appointment was at Macquarie University in Sydney, from which she retired as emeritus professor in 1994. She divided linguistic theories into two categories: externalists and internalists. She applied the term of externalists to those theories where language is assigned a subsidiary role in the creation of meaning. In such theories, language plays no role in bringing about the existence of the thing to be understood and expressed. In the external approaches, language is reduced to a name device. It becomes a set of names that label pre-existing things, properties, events, action, and so on. The concept of cohesion is a semantic one. It refers to relation of meanings that exist within the text and define it as a text. Cohesion occurs where the interpretation of some element in the discourse is dependent on that of another. The one presupposes the other, in the sense that it cannot be effectively decoded except by resource to it. When this happens, a relation of cohesion is set up, and the two elements, the presupposing and the presupposed, are thereby at least potentially integrated into a text.
Reference. Reference is an act of directing or indicating something by using some linguistic elements. Reference is a systematic relation. The reference is in no way constrained to match the grammatical class of the item it refers to. Reference is a particular type of cohesion, and its criteria is the specific nature of the information that is signaled for retrieval. In case of reference, the information to be retrieved in the referential meaning. So the identity of the particular thing or class of things that is being referred to, and the cohesion lies in the continuity of reference, whereby the same thing enters into the discourse for the second time.
There were three. So the analysis is they refers to blind mice. and also this. And another refers to
Manners of reference. On the basis of referring to a thing as identified in the context of situation or as identified in the surrounding text, reference appears in two forms or manners. The first one is exophora or endo-exophoric reference, and the second one is endophora or endophoric reference. Exophoric reference. Exophoric is reference to something extra-linguistic, not in the same text. It signals that a reference must be made to context of situation. For example, pronouns with words such as this, that, there, here are often exophoric. It is quite possible that those refers to earlier mention of those particular plants in the discussion, but it is also possible that it refers to the environment in which the dialogue is taking place, to the context of situation, as it is called, where the plants in question are present and can be pointed to if necessary. The interpretation would be those plants there in front of us. This kind of reference is called exophora.
Exophoric reference is the general name for within the text. Exophora is a term that means an expression which refers to something intralinguistic. For example,
flying, salty refers.
So here, she is an endophoric expression because it refers to something already mentioned in the text. By contrast, she was lying on the beach if it appeared by itself. Has an exophoric expression, she. She refers to something that the reader is thought about. Without further information, there is no way of knowing the exact meaning of an exophoric term, where endophoric expression lies within the text. Endophora can be subcategorized in two types, anaphora and cataphora. Anaphora reference is used for reference which refer to preceding text or backward in the sentence or text. Cataphoric reference is used for reference that refer the following text or forward in the sentence or text. A reference item is not of itself exophoric or endophoric. It is just phoric. It simply has the property of reference. Any given instance of reference may be either one or the other. On it may be both at once. What is essential to every instance of reference, whether endophoric or exophoric, is that there is a presupposition that must be satisfied. The thing referred to has to be The thing referred to be has to be identifiable somehow.
Types of reference. There are certain items in every language which have the properly reference. That is to say, instead of being interpreted semantically in their own right, they make reference to something else for their interpretation. In English, these items are personals, demonstratives, and comparatives. That is, there are three types of references. First is personal references. Second, demonstrative references. And third is comparative references. Personal reference is a reference by means of function into a speech situation through the category of person, and personal reference functions within the nominal group or noun phrase. Determiners, pronouns are the members of this group. This category of personal reference includes three classes. First class is a personal pronouns. Second class is possessive determiners. Third class is possessive pronouns. First is personal pronouns. For example,
He has another
here in the above example, the use of personal pronoun he or his for buyer and one for survey. There is a source of personal reference. Second, possessive determiners. For example,
his wife must be delighted with it. So the possessive pronoun
here in this example, the use of possessive determiners his for John is who a source of personal reference. And the third is possessive pronouns. If possessive pronouns are used, they give two more notions other than speaker or addressee. They are the of possessor and possessed. For example,
no, it was his.
here in the above example, the use of possessive pronoun his for John indicates the possessor, and S is for the possessed house includes another source of personal reference. The members of the category personal reference are shown in the table below.
Demonstrative reference. Demonstrative reference is essentially a form of varied pointing. The speaker identifies the referent by locating it on a scale of proximity. The system is as follows. The circumstantial or adverbial demonstrative here, there, now, and then refer to the location of a process in a space or time, and they normally do so directly, not via the location of some person or object that is participating in the process. Hence, they typically function as adjuncts in the clause, not as elements within the nominal group. They have a secondary function as qualifier.
The man there is handsome. There
The remaining nominal demonstratives, which are also selective nominal demonstratives, this, that, those, refer to the location of something, typically some entity, person, or object that is participating in the process. The last one is comparative reference. Comparative reference is indirect reference by means of identity or similarity. The table system is as follows. For example,
Same cat as the one we saw yesterday.
Substitution is a type of cohesion that maintains relation on the lexico-grammatical level of a sentence or a sentence in a text. It is performed by using a substitute that is a sort of counter implied in a place of the repetition of a particular item. The substitute has the same structural function as that for which it substitutes. Types of substitution. Since substitution is a grammatical relation, a relation in the wording rather than in the meaning, the different types of substitution are defined grammatically rather than semantically. The criterion is the grammatical function of substitute item. In English, substitute may function as a noun, as a verb, as a clause. To this correspond, there are three types of substitution: nominal substitution, verbal substitution, and clausal substitution.
Nominal substitution. Nominal substitution means the replacement of a noun or a noun phrase by a nominal substitute. For example, one or once, and same. Nominal substitution functions either as the head of nominal group as to presuppose an entire nominal group. For example,
Have you any nice and someone?
one for nice functions as the head of. Second, verbal substitution. The verbal substitution in English is do. This operates as head of a verbal group in the place that is occupied by the lexical verb, and its position is always final in the group. For example,
The words
here the first do in A substitutes for come, that in B substitutes for know the meaning of half those long words. In A and B, the presupposed items are in the same sentence, and so the substitution is not by itself cohesive. But verbal substitution regularly extends across sentence boundaries.
Third, clausal substitution. There is one further type of substitution in which what is presupposed is not an element within the clause, but an entire clause. The words used as clausal substitutes are so and not. In a clausal substitution, the entire clause is presupposed and the contrasting element is outside the clause. For example,
Is there going to be an earthquake? It says so.
here the so presupposes the whole of the clause. There is going to be an earthquake, and the contrastive environment is provided by the says, which is outside it. Ellipsis. Ellipsis may be explained as something left unsaid, and unsaid implies but understood nevertheless. In certain contexts, it is possible to leave out a word or a phrase rather than repeating it. This device is called ellipsis. Sometimes we do not need to provide a substitute for a word or a phrase which has already been said. We can simply omit it, and now that the missing part can be reconstituted quite successfully. If someone says, for example, "Would you like a glass of water?" we can answer, "Yes, I would," instead of saying, "Yes, I would like a glass of water," because we know that "like a glass of water" is understood.
Analysis. Red Child is a play written by Sam Shepard that was first presented in 1978. The first analysis is personal reference, Act 1, page 9.
Tilden's not here.
He's in the kitchen. In Haley's voice, he refers to Tilden.
Second analysis is possessive determiners, Act 1, page 14. Tilden is Dodge's oldest son. Late 40s, wears heavy construction boots covered with mud, dark green work pants, a plaid shirt, and a faded brown windbreaker. Dodge's oldest son refers to Tilden.
Possessive pronouns, Act 1, page 9.
Yes, to cut your hair.
My hair? I don't need my hair cut. I haven't hardly got any hair left. Your hair, in Haley's voice, and my hair, in Dutch, has the same object. It refers to Dutch hair.
The third analysis is comparative reference, Act 1, page 23. I think he was smarter than Tilden too. Smarter than is a comparative reference.
Act 1, page 40. He is about 5 years younger than Tilden. Younger than is comparative reference.
Substitution. Nominal substitute, Act 1, page 12.
There is no guarantee. He's a snake, that one.
That one is substitute Bradley.
Verbal substitution. Act 1, page 23. Didn't go and chop his leg off with a chainsaw. Smart enough not to do. Do refers to didn't go and chop his leg with a chainsaw.
Ellipsis. Act 2, page 25.
Don't go off anyplace else. Don't go off someplace and drink by yourself. Come right back here.
I will. I will, ellipsis, the whole sentence.